Welcome to the Strength for the Day podcast, which is a daily Bible study with Dennis Fountain. We hope this time together will be challenging, sharpening, uplifting, encouraging, and strengthening to your Christian walk. Thank you for joining us, and we pray you are helped through today's study. Hey, welcome back to Strength for the Day, and thanks for joining us, being here for another episode. If you're part of our church family, I am still just rejoicing over a few days ago, Sunday, and what God did. And I know I mentioned that on Monday of praising the Lord for the weekend, but man, it's just such a blessing. Sunday night, our night of praise, and just being around our church family, experiencing the blessing, singing some incredible songs of worship to our Lord, and just the time together, remembering the Lord's table, and it was a great day. And so I got done, of course. I didn't mention this yesterday in our last two episodes, but I will today because I'm wearing my Denver Broncos hat. Got done Sunday night after that great service, and then got to watch the game. And today I grabbed this hat and threw it on, and I'm excited about the Broncos are doing great. So that has nothing to do with the podcast, but that's me. I'm a sports fan. So anyway, we right now are going through our study, Hope for the Hopeless. It is in the book of 1 Thessalonians. In our last couple of episodes, we were with Paul kind of greeting the church there and, of course, telling them what he remembered about them. And we move into chapter number 2, and Paul writes these words, "For you yourselves know, brethren, that our coming to you was not in vain. But even after we had suffered before and were spitefully treated at Philippi, as you know, we were bold in our God to speak to you the gospel of God in much conflict." At the beginning of this section, Paul is just going to remind them about his character and his conduct when he came to Thessalonica. And one thing that kind of stands out to me that I almost thought about just stopping right here and doing a whole little study on it, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. But you can go read in Acts chapter number 16 about what took place when Paul was in Philippi. They were, of course, Paul and Silas were arrested and thrown in jail, and that's when at midnight they sang praises to the Lord, and a miraculous thing took place, and they were freed, and then the jailer got saved and his house, and then they were all baptized, and it was really just an incredible event that took place, but it was preceded by would preceded be the right word? I don't know what the right word would be, but what happened before what started all of it was persecution. And so persecution happened in a great way in Philippi. Even though it ended miraculously, it started just with them being beaten for their faith and thrown in prison and arrested and all of that. And so Paul rehearses that in this passage in 1 Thessalonians 2 when he says, "You know that when we came to you with boldness to speak the gospel to you, even though we had just been through much conflict." The thing that stands out to me that I thought about doing a whole episode on is just the fact that it took a lot. It would take a lot to get Paul to stop speaking about his faith in the Lord and speaking about his love for the Lord and telling people about Jesus. And the reason I bring that up is because I don't mean this to be, I'll just speak it in my life. I think there are some times when if Paul were here, he would say, "Really, Dennis? Like, you didn't bring up Jesus? Because why?" Sometimes my fears or frustrations cause me to not speak of Jesus with boldness. And I'm not saying that you have to be that person that puts a billboard and walks outside or carries a megaphone and screams at people. I don't think that is the way. I don't think that's the way that Paul would have done it. Yes, he was involved in street preaching, but you understand that street preaching back then was like the Facebook of today. It was something that everybody was there, everybody was in the market for someone, and this would happen in a ton of ways during that time where somebody would get up and begin declaring something. I mean, that's written about even in the book of Acts. So I don't think Paul is saying, I was bold to you and I was brash in your face with the gospel. Paul is not saying that. He was saying, listen, I went through conflict. I went through challenge, but we came to you, and notice what he says, we were bold in our God. That idea means that we were bold because of God's help, and we stood up and we spoke truth into your life. My question for you today is, what stops you from speaking truth into the lives of others? Now, again, we shouldn't be brash, but we should be able to lovingly and with boldness speak the truth of Jesus. Paul was. He continues in verse number 3, for our exhortation, our encouragement did not come from error or uncleanness, nor was it in deceit. So we didn't come to you with a wrong motive, but we came to you, verse number 4, but as we have been approved by God, that word approved means appointed by God, to be entrusted with the gospel, even so we speak. Not as pleasing men, but God who tests or tries our hearts or tests our motives. So what is Paul saying? He's saying, listen, we came to you after a great time of conflict, but we were bold to speak to you the truth because God was empowering us and God has entrusted us with the gospel. God has given us something to give to you, and we would be amiss if we kept that for ourselves. I think this verse is a great challenge for every follower of Jesus, and here's why. The same trust that God had given to Paul to share the gospel, God has given to me and you to share the gospel. You see, God calls every follower of his not to be brash, but to be bold with the gospel, to declare to our loved ones and to our friends and to those that we have in our sphere of influence. God desires that we would, with boldness, declare that Jesus Christ has love for them and desires that they would know him. The idea is speaking to people about Christ, telling people that Jesus is real and that he died on the cross for them and that he rose from the grave and that he has hope for them even in this culture that is so hopeless that they can find hope in Jesus. And so when I look at verse number 1 down through verse number 4 of 1 Thessalonians chapter number 2, I'm encouraged, like, God, help me to speak with wisdom and to speak with boldness to declare you to the people around me because you have entrusted me with the gospel. Verse 5, Paul says this. He continues on the thought, for neither at any time did we use flattering words, as you know, nor a cloak of covetousness. God is witness. We weren't trying to get anything out of you. Nor did we seek glory from men. We weren't trying to receive praise from you, either from you or from others, when we might have made demands as apostles of Christ. So, hey, because of our call in the Lord, we are apostles. We are followers of Jesus in this. We could have made a demand, but we didn't do that. We didn't come with false motives or bad intention. But, verse 7, we were gentle among you, as a nursing mother cherishes her own children. We were like a brand new mom, loving that new baby. We came to you with nurture, with care, and with gentleness. Verse 8, so, affectionately longing for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you had become dear to us. I love verse 8. He says, when we came, we not only spoke God's truth to you, but we gave of ourselves, meaning we served you. We were willing to eat with you day in and day out and answer questions and dive in and serve alongside you, willing to give of ourselves. It's like, to my own detriment, I will serve, not to be served, but because I love you and because I want you to receive the Lord. Verse number 9, for you remember, brethren, our labor and our toil, for laboring night and day, that we might not be a burden to any of you, we preached to you the gospel of God. You are our witnesses, and God also, how devoutly and justly and blamelessly we have behaved ourselves among you who believe. As you know, how we exhorted and comforted and charged every one of you as a father does his own children, that you would walk worthy of God, who calls you into who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. All of these verses are really pointing to Paul's character as he spoke about Jesus to all of these people. As he traveled and spoke to everywhere he preached about Christ, he spoke with a character that backed it up. That's interesting, because if you were with us in the last couple of episodes, that is one thing that Paul even spoke about in chapter number 1. He was speaking to them that I know your testimony. I know your testimony, and I know what you did and how you spoke, and I know that you are you are known for your faith. So I just want to remind you that when we came to you with boldness after a great trial, and we not only spoke truth to you, but we lived out the faith of Christ before you. And when I look at why Paul wrote this, I think he summarizes it well in verse 12, that you would walk worthy of God who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. Paul said it many times, follow me as I follow Christ. He wrote to the believers of Ephesus to do that. He wrote to the believers at Corinth to do that. And when you and I look at who Jesus is, it should call us to a desire to be like Christ in our actions, so that when we speak about Christ with our words, that people see a life that backs it up. Now, the last couple of episodes, we actually have been speaking about that. So I don't want to go down that road, but for the last 30 seconds here, I just looked at our time. We are over our time, so I'll do this quick. The one thing that I want to kind of bring out is what hinders, two questions. What hinders, number one, what hinders your testimony, your lifestyle? What hinders your life from being seen as a genuine Christian? But number two, and what I want to focus on for just a second, is what hinders your message of Jesus? What is stopping you from telling your loved ones about Christ? What is hindering that boldness? I want to encourage you today, no matter what. Man, Paul said we went through a lot, but we still spoke boldly. May we choose today, God, today, no matter what's going on, would you help me to speak boldly for you? I know it's a lot today, covered a lot of verses, but I hope that'd be a help to you. We'll pick up tomorrow in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse number 13. Have a great day.